Okay, so after a very, very, very long wait, Captain America Brave New World was finally released in theaters. And so, as promised, here we are. This was the first MCU movie we've gotten since Deadpool and Wolverine, and I gotta say, I went into this movie very worried. For context, this movie was a production nightmare. The writers couldn't get a good script going, there were tons of cuts and reshoots taking place, and there was just an overall lack of understanding for what they wanted this movie to be. You put all those things together and you got yourself a perfect recipe for an absolute clusterfuck of a movie. So it's safe to say that my expectations were pretty low. And in hindsight, I'm very glad they were, because this movie actually pleasantly surprised me. At the time of writing this script, I am fresh out of the movie theater and I got a lot of thoughts running through my head, so I kind of want to just get straight into it. Here's your spoiler warning for Captain America Brave New World. If you haven't watched it, go watch it and come back. And if you just don't care, then let's go. I want to start off by saying that this is one of the first MCU movies that really, and I mean really, requires you to do your homework. Specifically with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Eternals, and The Incredible Hulk. Yes, the Hulk movie from 2008. Now, luckily for me, I knew this information going in, but I decided not to listen. My reasoning was that I could vaguely remember what went down in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I thought I was all good in that field. Eternals I had actually watched in the last year, because I was told it wasn't as bad as I remembered. Spoiler alert, it's just as bad as I remembered. And The Incredible Hulk, I just couldn't be asked. I watched that movie once when I was very young, and I vividly remember coming out of that theater thinking, wow, that movie really sucked. Do you know how bad a superhero movie has to be for a kid to call it bad? Pretty fucking bad. But either way, the movie was released in 2008. Let's be real here, it's not gonna be that important. There is no way it's the most important film in this entire movie. Yeah, that's my bad. Luckily, just watching the movie actually helped jog my memory, so it didn't really affect me too much. As for the movie itself, I want to start off with all the good. For starters, Sam Wilson's suit looks really damn good. I like the colors, and the vibranium wings are super cool, especially when you pair them up with his shield. And speaking of vibranium, I love the use of adamantium in this film. Seeing them treat it like the extremely rare metal that it should be made me really glad. And it being in the middle of the whole US-Japan conflict was super interesting and really well executed. But by far, the best part of this entire film was Harrison Ford's portrayal of Thunderbolt Ross. I fucking love Harrison Ford, so it is no surprise that he absolutely stole the movie for me. His opening scene on election night, his deep desire to rebuild his relationship with his daughter, his aspiration to just be a better person, and his scenes where he starts to Hulk out, it is all just incredible stuff. But when this son of a bitch turns into the Red Hulk, I was really glad that I was wearing my white pants. For the first time in the MCU, we got a truly authentic Hulk scene, where all we see is this big angry monster destroying absolutely everything around him, and I am just so happy. You could say that it took Marvel way too damn long to give us a scene like this, but you know what? We finally got it, and I'm just happy it's here. Apart from that, we get a pretty good scene with Bucky, who's apparently going to be a congressman now, which I gotta say, doesn't make too much sense to me, but I mean, we'll see what they do with it. And there's also a pretty big mystery aspect to this movie, which at first was shockingly good. When they first start investigating the assassination attempt on Ross, this movie does a really good job at building tension that really does keep you at the edge of your seat. When we see the flash on their phones indicating that they may be getting brainwashed into doing all of these things, or when Isaiah screams at Sam to stay the hell out of this, it's all just really engaging stuff, and I thought it was really well done. But unfortunately, this is also the transition into my negatives on this film. The same mystery that kept me enticed for a large period of this film also ended up being what I thought to be the biggest flop of this entire movie. After all the time they spent building it up, the resolution was presented so matter-of-factly, with the actual resolution being very boring. It also pains me to say it, but this movie was indeed heavily affected by all the issues it had during production. during almost all of the fight scenes in this movie, you can clearly tell that they had to reshoot a lot of these scenes. And it led to a lot of very messy fight scenes where I struggled to understand what the hell was going on. The CGI also took a pretty big hit from this. There is a very big CGI battle where Falcon and Cap are flying around fighting a bunch of jets, and the CGI took me out of it quite a few times with how bad it looked. There were also a few moments during the final fight with Red Hulk where his movements looked a bit janky or the background just looked very fake. It's unfortunate because it's not really the movie's fault, but I do have to take it into account. As for the villain in this movie, Samuel Stearns, while I do think it's cool that after all these years we're having callbacks to the Incredible Hulk movie, I thought he was done very poorly. His dialogue gave me flashbacks to Madam Web's villain with how cheesy it was. It was nowhere near as bad, but still pretty bad. I also don't like how early they revealed that all he ever really wanted was to fuck over Ross. At this point of the movie, we hadn't seen Red Hulk yet, so this made it so you just kind of knew exactly when you were gonna see Red Hulk and how you were gonna see him. And at the end of it all, he turns himself in for no reason whatsoever. Like, I don't understand why he couldn't have just released those articles and played the voiceover from like a fucking bunker or something. I don't know. That was all really disappointing, but I think my biggest issue with this film by far is actually Sam Wilson. I'm gonna just say flat out, I don't care about Sam. Like, at all. I liked him a lot more as a prominent side character back when he was the Falcon. He's a good side dish, but you can't have a meal made up of just fries. You need your protein, such as Thunderbolt Ross, Steve Rogers, and I'll be real, fucking Bucky. I think he would have been a much better leading man. I just don't think he's interesting enough for his very own film. He's not very funny, and I personally don't like how he just talks everyone out of fighting with him. Realistically, this movie was a Thunderbolt Ross movie, which I really enjoyed, but at the end of the day, the title says Captain America, so if he's not the main star in his very own movie, then there's a big problem. Apart from that, I have a few other things that are small nitpicks at best that I won't bore you with. Overall, Captain America Brave New World is not a Captain America movie. In reality, this movie is just a sequel to The Incredible Hulk that shoehorned Sam Wilson as the lead role. With that being said, I had a lot of fun with this film. There was a lot done right, but there was also a lot done wrong, with or without all the production issues. While I can't say with confidence that this movie was entertaining, it's with that same confidence that I can't really say that this movie is good. But at the end of the day, I had fun, and that's really all that matters. So with all that being said, I am giving Captain America Brave New World a 7 out of 10, which, you know what? Considering how bad I thought it was going to be, that's pretty damn good. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, go check out some of my other videos. I think I have a few good ones in there that are worth watching. I do plan on making a full review on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which should finish airing somewhat soon, along with Invincible Season 3 soon after that, so be on the lookout for those reviews. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in a few weeks. See ya.